Hi, I'm Joe Carswell with Teach Construction. This lesson is all about basic hand tools we use to build, so let's get right into it. There's a whole world full of hand tools out there, and each trade uses specific ones to get their job done. I've assembled kind of a universal set here, tools that you'll see commonly on the job site. And our first one is our tool bags. Storing those hand tools and having them available to us at any moment is really important. We have problems to solve. That's what our hand tools do. And we can get them organized in our tool bags. This would either go around your waist on the front to make them accessible, or they could go on the back depending on which trade you're working with. Framers typically wear them in the back. And there are pockets in this tool bag for everything from a tape measure to pencils, marking devices, even a hook for a hammer. All of this becomes right here available to me at any moment that I need it. And it's good to keep this organized and put the tools in the same place every time so you can get them at a moment's notice. Hammers are an important hand tool for us. Even now with all of our power tools, pneumatics, hammers still have an important place on the job. I've got a couple of hammers here. This is a 16-ounce finish hammer. We call it a finish hammer because it has a smooth head on it. This is good for a lot of different jobs, and this smooth head doesn't damage a surface when you strike it. We can drive nails with these, we can drive staples, we can move materials with it. It's a very useful tool to have. We also have a version here that is a framing hammer. Look how much bigger this hammer is than our 16-ounce finish hammer. This one is a 19-ounce hammer, so it's also heavier. You'll notice the face on it also has a texture on it. We call that a waffle face. That's to grip framing nails when you drive them. And this hammer makes kind of a mess of a surface when you swing at it. If you can imagine a stud when you hit it is going to have this waffle pattern in it when you drive that nail. The handles are a little different in the way they're shaped. This one is made for really heavy swinging. This one's made for more finesse. Both of these hammers have a claw feature on them. That is a hooked back on the hammer, and we can pull nails and other fasteners using this and leverage with the handle. This is a straight claw on this hammer. It gives us more leverage with this longer handle. This is a curved claw on this hammer. The shorter handle needs this curve to make this pull nails effectively. We also have other tools with claws on them. That would be our pry bars. This is a pry bar that is made for demolition. It's got this angled end on it, and it has a straight end on it. And there is a claw on either end. This notch is great for getting under the head of a fastener and then pulling it out. There's also a keyhole here where you can grab a fastener with a head on it as well, and you can lever that fastener out. This tool is great for demo. You can pry different materials apart. This end, straighter end, is for more finesse. This angled end gives you a lot more leverage. Pry bars can come in different sizes. I have a very small version of my pry bar here. This is for prying smaller items like trim. It also has the angled end on this side, the straight end on this side. It also has the two claws and this keyhole as well. A cat's paw is a variation on a pry bar. This tool has the same angled end and the straight end with our claw, but this one's special. It's made for pulling out fasteners that have already been driven flat to a surface. This would get driven in with a hammer, and as you drive it under the head, you can pry it out. This tool is not really that great for using as a regular pry bar like the other one, but it does that specific job of pulling out those fasteners that you've already driven. Hi, sorry for the interruption. I had a quick message for you. We offer a lot of other lessons at our learning portal, which is tradeskillsu.com. If you're a teacher and you found us here, we have a ton of other resources to help you with your students teach them construction in a digital environment. You can find those at teachconstruction.org. Once again, thanks for watching. Let's get back to the video. We have some measuring tools that we use a lot, starting with our tape measures. So tape measures come in different lengths. Here's a 25-foot tape measure. That's talking about the tape inside of it. I have a 16-foot here. So our limit on this one would be 16 feet of a measurement. We can measure up to 25 feet with this one. All of our tapes have this steel blade inside that retracts into the case. It's marked with numbers, different markings for fractions, and it has a hook on the end that we can use to either push up against an edge or pull off an edge to get an accurate measurement. You cannot get a job done without your tape measure, so choose one well and use it all the time. Another measuring device would be a square. And we use squares all the time because we like right angles. Look around you. There's a right angle very near you right now. If you see a corner of a room, typically that's a right angle. This is called a speed square. It fits in your bags. It is a 7-inch speed square. It has not only a right angle built into it, but it also has a 45-degree angle built into it. There are other angles we could measure with this as well using this edge, and it has some ruler edges on it that we can make some measurements with as well. Squaring things up and finding and measuring square is a really important part of building, and we have other squares as well. They come in different sizes. Here is a 12-inch square. Same thing, just bigger. Sometimes we need a bigger measurement or more accuracy. We do this with larger tools. This is an even larger version of a square. You might see a staircase built with one of these. A square with a certain amount of knowledge can go a long way with measuring angles and creating complicated builds. We can measure all day, but without the ability to make a mark at that measurement and then make a cut at that measurement, we can't get anywhere with it. That's why you need a large assortment of marking tools in your tool bag, anything from pencils to colored markers. This is a lumber crayon. And we also have a permanent marker for some of those bold marks or hard to make marks. If you need to mark a longer line, you can use a chalk line. This is a tool that makes a mark with a string. This string is wound inside of this case. It has a hook like a tape measure, and it has chalk that's coated on the string. So as long as this string is, we can stretch that string, snap that line on a surface, and we get a nice, long, straight line, and we can do it quickly over and over again. This tool makes a mess. As you can see, it's already dribbled chalk all over my table. So take care of this one. Make sure it's not spilling open in your bags. Sometimes we need to measure whether something is perfectly flat or perfectly vertical. We would use a level to do that. And a level is a fairly simple tool. It uses a vial with a bubble in it, and that bubble is going to move back and forth. And when that bubble ends up in exactly the center of that vial, we know that we have a perfectly flat, horizontal, or level surface. If we wanted to measure vertical, we're going to watch this vial right here, and we're looking to center that bubble in this specific vial. When that bubble is centered, we know that we have perfectly vertical. Levels come in different lengths. The longer they are, the more fragile they are. Take care of your levels. They're precision instruments. And here is a smaller version. This one would fit in your bags. It's a torpedo level. Same vials, same bubble reaction, and it will move back and forth until the bubble's centered, and that's perfectly level. If you wanted to measure vertical or plumb, you can turn this level and use this vial and watch that bubble. When we're building, we have to deal with fasteners. That's installing them and removing them, and we would use a screwdriver to do that. So here's some styles of screwdrivers, starting with a flathead. This is a flat blade that fits into a matching fastener. The handle grip helps you turn that fastener, whether that's in or out. We also have a Phillips head screwdriver. It's a cross shape that fits into a Phillips head screw. And this one's kind of cool. This is a multi-driver. So this one has several different styles built into one tool. This is great if you're trying to consolidate tools in your bag. And this one comes apart, several parts in it. So I have choices here. I have a flathead, 2 different sizes, and I have Phillips, a small size and a medium size. All this fits together, and I even have a hex-shaped end on this side for a specific size fastener and a hex shape here. You might hear those called nut drivers. And at the end, all of this fits together into one tool. A utility knife is probably one of your most used tools in your bag outside of your hammer. It has a retractable blade for safety. And this is a removable blade. We can pull this blade out and change it. It's a double-sided blade. And this is a very sharp razor blade. So this might be one of your most dangerous tools, to be honest. Be really careful with this one. You'll do everything from sharpening your pencil to trimming materials with this particular tool, and you should always have one in your bag. And also remember, whenever you're done with it, retract the blade. Another cutting tool is a chisel. These are like your mother's favorite scissors. You have to treat them very gently. You would not use a chisel anywhere that there is a nail or anything other than a soft material like wood. These tools, when you use them with a hammer, you can drive them in, make notches, carve wood or other soft materials. Chisels have a knife edge on this end. You have to be really careful with that, but that edge won't stay sharp unless you treat it really well. So these tools are sort of a fine woodworking tool. If you use it to pull staples out of lumber, then they won't last very long. You might be tempted to use your chisels for something other than what they're made for, say maybe scraping. I've got a better tool for you. That's a 5-in-1 scraper. This tool does a lot of different things, and it also can take some more abuse than some of your other tools. It's got a pretty heavy blade that doesn't flex. It's got an edge here for scraping. It's got a point here that can pull out staples, things like that. It even has some curves on it that work to clean rollers. This tool, they call it a 5-in-1, and it does a lot of different things. This is my go-to if I need to solve a problem and I don't want to ruin something like a flathead screwdriver or say one of those chisels. Wire cutters are pliers that everybody should have in their kit. These have a hardened jaw on them on this side, and they have handles on this side for leverage. These will cut through anything from copper wire to steel wire, and they can take a lot of abuse. These cutters have a flush side here so that they can cut tight to a surface, so you might hear them called side cutters. Another set of cutters would be linesman pliers. These not only have the cutters like with our wire cutters, but they also have jaws on the end for pinching or gripping different materials. These are a good choice for doing electrical work, and the wide jaws on them can grab multiple wires and twist them together. We also have other choices for gripping tools. I've got this standard set of slip joint pliers, and these have a pivot point that can be adjusted. So you'll notice that the jaws on these there's coarse teeth and fine teeth at the end here. They're great for gripping, and we can grab different ranges of materials by setting them a certain way. So if they're set here, these jaws touch and we can grab tighter things. If I adjust these to a wider setting, we can grab wider materials. So if I have something, say like this pipe, this wider setting will give me a much more comfortable grip and a lot more leverage on something that's as wide as this. We can go even wider with our gripping with a set of channel lock pliers. So these have not one setting, that would be small and large, but multiple settings. So that same adjustment at our hinge allows us to go from very tight where our jaws are spaced to a much wider setting where we can grab something really big. So that same fitting we have would work very well with this wider setting, and our grips are much more comfortable. We can get a lot of leverage and a lot of contact with this fitting. The key to setting these channel locks properly is knowing the distance between the parallel sides on your fitting. What you want is the matching parallel sides on your tool to line up with those. If you set it too small, you will get not only a strange angle on your jaws, but you'll also have the handles too wide to grip it comfortably. If you need to grip some really small things, you would use needle nose pliers. So these have very small tips on them for really fine bending of wire, grabbing small things. They also have the same handles on the end for leverage, and they also have wire cutters in here, just like our linesman pliers and our wire cutters. Try to remember to avoid using this type of a plier when you need that parallel sides or that grip on those parallel sides. You cannot get that with these particular pliers. They hinge here and they're always at an angle, so it's a really bad idea. You can strip out a nut or a bolt very easily. A better tool to use is an adjustable wrench. This one is made with smooth jaws that stay parallel to each other. This thumb screw allows this jaw to move closer together or further apart, that we can adjust it for different size nuts, bolts, fittings, things like that. So this tool would be a good one to use on this fitting. We can set it, turning this screw, we can tighten this up on our parallel sides, make it nice and snug, and now we can turn it whichever direction we want. Adjustable wrenches come in different sizes for different range things that you need to use them for. This is kind of a medium one. I also have a smaller one here, and the handle gets smaller on it. If I need a really big one, I've got the Mongo wrench here, and this will do some big work. It's often when you're working, you just need an extra set of hand. You can have a quick clamp, and it will do that for you. So these clamps here have jaws or rubber grips on them. They have a range as long as this shaft is. It has a quick release here, and this will slide back and forth on this shaft. Now we have a trigger handle, and we can make some fine adjustments and really clamp this down. You might need to clamp a board down to cut it, hold something together while it's being glued. This or a pair of these is great to have in your bag. They come in different sizes, and they're a great tool to have. There's a cutting tool I almost forgot, and that is a handsaw. This one comes with a sheath on it, not only protect you from getting cut, but to keep the blade sharp. This tool can do a great quick cut when you need it. It can even finish out a cut that maybe your circular saw can't do. Some of my peers might not agree with me that having a non-power tool for cutting is a good idea. I always keep one around. So there you have it, a collection of hand tools you're sure to use on the job site. Remember, you'll be using these all day, every day. So try to find the best ones you can afford. They need to last. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next lesson.